Okay. Okay. I had to start this out. Um, Hopefully everything is working okay. If it isn't, anybody let me know. I had to do this because yesterday, right, this happens in some people's chats. I was watching some storm chasing yesterday, right? And you have to worry about baiters in these chats, whether it be mine or anybody else's. This is storm chasing channel, right? And this person comes in saying, I'm 14 years old, stuff like this, yada yada yada. A woman in chat says, you should never, be in chat. You should also, people should never talk to you and stuff like that. And me and this other guy were like, what the fuck? It's like, I wouldn't want any kids in my chat when I'm talking about some stuff that I talk about. I don't whatsoever. I feel very uncomfortable in anything that I do. Okay? Besides that, if I'm talking about drones, if I'm talking about UFOs, I don't care. People need to guard themselves with their privacy. And when people come in and they say I'm only this age, under 18, a lot of them can be baiters, some are not. You have to be very mindful. And the kids need to be mindful. Never tell your age. But what really pissed me off, was that this lady and some people, I don't know, is it the fucking world that we live in, the fucked up world that we live in? Also with politics and how people are so polarized and they think in extremes of hate and goodness, light and darkness and stuff. And it's a huge sickness where this one guy, he said, you're pretty sick. Do you think that everybody is gonna want to be like some sort of pedophile or whatever? Or, just be after kids? And I'm thinking, I see both sides of this. And it's a very uncomfortable subject, but it needs to be talked about. It really does need to be talked about. Because if you're a kid and you're in these chats, you shouldn't make yourself known of your age. You shouldn't. Let me see here. You shouldn't make yourself known that you're a minor whatsoever. You need to guard yourself, your security. But what I did like about this woman, I think Playvars, they didn't say anything in the storm chasing chat. It's like, first, it makes me hate this world that we live in a lot, because of, we have so many fucking problems, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't be doing games after this, after I do this, because I want there to get away from real life BS in some ways. It can be depressing, but a lot of stuff. And I mean, with storm chasing, I don't really like the mods. I think that a lot of the mods in these storm chasing channels are just brats, children themselves, and you're not allowed to say much whatsoever. But I think a person that says nobody should talk to a child when it comes to stuff like storm chasing and stuff like that, I don't know. I mean, I want to hear other people. I want to hear what other people have to say. I really do. Because let me tell you, if somebody, my belief is, if somebody goes after somebody that's underage and they know that they're a certain age, there are thousands of people in this chat that can attack this guy or woman or whoever if they do something wrong. You should never say, where you live and stuff like that. You should never put your address, never number or this and that. You should never put that personal information. I've done media for over 30 years, and I never used my real name because my father worked at secret sites, and so did other people that knew him and stuff like that. And the FBI told him, don't ever use your real name, social, sites, stuff like this. Is before the internet, okay? If somebody asks for your real name and stuff like that, give us a call. If you want to ask about personal info, you give a call to us, the CIA, FBI. The FBI is going to be on to that. So I use different names for a lot of different media and stuff. This is not my main media. This isn't. But what kind of world do we live in? Where kids cannot say anything in a fucking chat. I'm sorry, I'm pissed. This is a fucking storm chasing channel. And this woman and some of these locals are saying, don't talk to it, don't talk to this person, don't talk to this person. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Until we go into gaming servers. Or I've actually, played with kids, and I'm an advocate for 18 plus servers only because I don't want to play with kids and anything, especially I've tried to actually I had one girl and she convinced me to play, with some of her, family and kids and stuff like that. And I said, I don't like that whatsoever. I have to guard, my own stuff and with the stuff that I do. And, if I play with kids after a while, I say, I want to meet your parents. I want to meet your parents. Parents are not taking care of their kids. They're not. They're not taking care of their kids. They're not watching them. They're telling their kids, oh, go play a game. Get out of my way. Go play a game, get out of my way. In the old days, before we had these games and online games, we had, we had to talk with our parents, or else we went out, play with other kids and stuff like that. Why aren't parents looking after their kids and what they're doing? I want to meet their parents. I don't want kids, playing with me, an adult, whatsoever, unless they know who the fuck I am. Can we get an amen out of that? Can we get an amen? Because I feel like I'm preaching here. But it's like, and this is gone on another chats on the web, where you say, "Oh, don't talk to him." You know, it's like you never know with baiters. There's some people that are baiting. You tell them, get the fuck out of here. Guard yourself. But I don't like the extremism of saying you can't talk to a kid on a freaking storm chasing channel. You're doing storm chasing for fucking Christ's sakes. Are you bloody out of your mind? I mean, what does to a kid, if it is a real kid, how they are hurt mentally? And telling kids, don't talk to them, that pisses me off. And I think you're a sicko for thinking that everyone in chat is going to be after a kid. But I'll see the other side. Gotta protect these kids as well. If it was a kid, or if they're baiting, I don't know. I don't care. I don't. Got it. I should probably just gamed this stuff. Let's get on with some of these mods on these storm chaser channels. I hate them. They act like little twats, bitches and stuff and everything. And it's like, if people say anything that they may not like to a certain degree, they kick them right out. And I got kicked out. And it's like, what the fuck? It's like, grow the fuck up. And I see a bunch of children, adults that are children in these chats and storm chasing. And they go, thank you mods for keeping us safe. It's like, I told one guy, you can grow up and use the block button. That's what we have, is block buttons to protect ourselves. It's a nice thing that we have. As much as I complain about YouTube. You don't have that on Rumble, you can't block people. Which is one reason why I don't do stuff on there. It's so right-wing people, and it needs to change. I think everybody should be on these places. Everybody. I think you need all the blends, the herbs, the spices, the sauces. And I think hopefully that'll change. But there's no reason why Rumble people should, can't block people. And it's like, the biggest children I see are the people on these storm chasing channels and stuff. And oh my god. Let's move on here to let's, please. I just had to get that out of the way. Army troops flood New York City subway as crime spikes.
9/11. The governor saying that the initial deployment was so successful, she's adding more troops to accomplish this safety mission.
So, you heard it right there. We now have the most troops.
This is from Cash Jordan. He has some good videos on there. Check him out. He does real good content. I just recently saw this guy. I've seen it before. But give him a shout. Give him a like. you know.
That we've had stationed in the
cash.
subway since 9/11. And while our leaders say this is not in response to any specific incident, there have been a number of recent incidents which have captured the attention of riders and reopened a conversation about how safe the subway actually is. And by flooding the subway with troops, critics say our leaders are subtly admitting that without them we'd be in danger of something.
Scores of additional soldiers are taking up positions in the New York City transit system. It brings...
So, if I run around and I act stupid and I put on a clown suit, which I'd have to get paid at least 10 cents for that, because I'm already a clown, as it is pretty much, and stuff a lot of times. But anyways, if I did that, would I have to worry about getting shot? It's an honest question I have to ask. What, like you weren't thinking it either?
Thanks to 1,000 the number of National Guard members stationed at subway entrances. A show of force intended to deter crime and to reassure riders.
I saw like officers like on duty, which I was like, okay, like I'm safe here.
There's too many crazy people out here, and the more that they have down here, the better.
The mental illness, the homeless, they need help.
250 additional National Guard soldiers are being deployed to stations across the city. The Guardsmen are being added to the 750 on patrol since last March.
I've heard from many people that the presence of the National Guard has made not just a physical difference, but a psychological difference in how they feel about safety.
No kidding.
Since the pandemic, crime is down overall by 12%, but murders are up 200%. Felony assaults are up 55%.
Look at that. Now, I use mass transit. I use, right now I messed up one of my toes. So it's hard for me to get around. I had a friend, luckily he got me some ibuprofen. Otherwise I had to walk and get it and stuff. But a lot of times I need to exercise as well. But use these, subways, use these buses like I do. And let me tell you, you don't know if you're coming back sometimes the same way. There's crazy people on there. Crazy people, like I said, I have to clarify. It wasn't so much the homeless that's the problem, though they smell and there's piss, urine, shit. Sometimes they smell like shit. They do. They smell up the place. But the biggest problem is mental. The mentals that should be out on the streets. I'm not saying I have my own problems. I'm bipolar. And stuff. So it's like, but when people start mouthing off, I need to kill this person, that person, etc., just start cussing out of nowhere for no reason, it scares everybody. And you just want to break open the door on the bus and run. You don't care how many miles you are away from the next bus stop or from your home. You just want to get the fuck out. They've been playing people that have been gutted, sexually assaulted, and stuff like that. But let me tell you, you never want to use this. You never do. And so I said, on the last video, they said, yeah, I can't bring my children. Children, not with the crazies. No. Let me tell you. Not with the crazy people on. Not the crazy train. Not with the crazy train. And the thing is, with these people, if they could get away with it, all these other, also the gamers call aggro, they just leech on each other, stick to each other, they flood in and everything, and they take over the place because they know they could do that.
And burglaries up 140%.
So as our leaders tell us the subway is safe, they continue rolling out the military just to make sure nothing comes along to prove otherwise.
It's cleaner.
But that's exactly what's happening, and nobody in charge wants to
It's
admit
clean.
that the New York City subway is a lot more dangerous than most people think it is. But in spite of that, we're being told that there's nothing to worry about because crime is down now after it was up earlier this year, and it likely would have stayed up had the military not been deployed back in March to scare away some dangerous criminals, while assisting the NYPD with randomized bag checks looking for weapons and contraband, with seizures of such items skyrocketing earlier.
This could be a problem. My nose itches, sorry. This is a problem. People going through, I see both sides. I don't want people going through my bag. I don't carry weapons, except for ones I'm going to use, of course. But for real, not joking, people don't like how they have their stuff searched. You're talking about military, you got change in there, stuff like that. I remember going through places with metal detectors. You have to take all your change out. You have to take your keys out, your key chains, all this other stuff, all this other BS. I don't know, but I mean, there's good, bad with all that.
In 2024. Something that can only happen in an environment where criminals are not scared one bit of law enforcement or the consequences of getting arrested. And elevated levels of criminal behavior are something our country has witnessed recently, with several high-profile incidents taking place beneath New York streets, which critics say is proof our decriminalization efforts are not making this city a better, safer place, but instead are making sure that if anyone gets arrested with a weapon or for assault, they're released back into the general public and not sent to jail. And those crime stats our leaders say are down, well, critics have serious problems.
I seriously hate law enforcement using dogs. I know the training that they use. I don't think it should be legal for them to use dogs. I don't like how they make it with normal citizens like us, where they're ready to use dogs to attack us. Police, it should be just human versus human. This stuff, I do not. If you know the training that goes with those dogs and how they have to be against, civilians like us, it's that training. And I've seen that. When I was on the street before, they trained some of the dogs in the area where I'm at right now, and they'd have them just like come up out of nowhere. These are dogs on us. I don't know why. Okay. Puppets or something. I don't know. But, anyways, they'd say, hey, don't touch them, don't do anything. And how they have trained to be mean and stuff like that. It's inhumane. I hate it. I believe it should be human versus human on human contact with law enforcement, versus civilian. Don't get animals involved. Don't train them to be a certain way. I hate that.
Problems with those statements because they allege there's evidence our real problems are being deliberately hidden and swept under the rug. And that brings us to the real reason why there are now more troops deployed to the subway and why this deployment has lasted almost 1 calendar year so far. If the troops were to be removed, it might signal to the criminal underworld that the time is right to come back out of the shadows. However, the frightening reality of all this security is that it only focuses on the entrances to the subway, of which there are so many. Policing and militarizing them all is virtually impossible. Plus, our troops.
Do you guys see how much cleaner everything is throughout this video? Besides the doorway, doesn't have spit and whatever matter. Look, you see that? These places weren't clean like that before. That don't look clean, but it's a lot cleaner. You have people smelling up places. You have urine, fecal matter. Holy God. Right there. There'd be homeless right here. All over the place. And I ain't got nothing against homeless people, but I just say that a lot cleaner and safer. It's not necessarily the homeless people, but it's really the mental people. You know what I'm saying?
Because we were told earlier this year that crime was so high, we needed the National Guard to bring it down, which it did. And all year we've been hearing about how safe the subway is. So why then would we need more National Guard troops? And how safe can the subway truly be if not every entrance has people stationed at it, and if troops and police are not riding the trains and spending time on the platforms as much as some riders would prefer?
That could be a fault.
That outburst happened just as we were speaking with Keisha Irby about the governor's plan to enhance safety in the subway system. She announced Wednesday 250 additional National Guard soldiers are being deployed to stations across the city.
So here you have a reporter interviewing people outside of a police bag check, and what happens is another rider gets aggressive. Now, if people are having heated screaming matches at the entrance to the trains, what do you think is going on once people are inside the trains themselves? And what could happen to a person waiting on a subway platform if an individual who's aggressive is allowed inside? This is the frightening reality many riders are faced with on a daily basis, and this has been going on all year. It's not.
This is, you know, the big dilemma. You want police, you want law enforcement, but you don't want them everywhere where people don't like it. And there's a yin-yang to all this stuff. There's good and bad to it. You know, to all this stuff. You know, it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. There's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of, people that don't want too much of it. I don't want too much of it either. I don't like it. I don't feel secure with too much law enforcement, but yet, if they're needed, you're going to say, people are complaining, like, where the F are they? Where are they? You know? And then it falls back on us, you know, dummies that don't want them everywhere, but you don't want to look like a dictatorship, you know, a militarized, you know, institution, you know? So, anyways.
Not exactly new. Now look, I ride the subway. I took the subway to get here. I take the train all the time. And personally, I do feel better knowing that there are National Guard troops throughout the system. It's definitely making a difference. Nobody's going to try anything when they're around. I just don't personally think that it's making as much of a difference as we're led to believe it is, because right now down here, I mean, where's the security presence? And what's to stop a person who accessed the subway in a manner that went around a National Guard checkpoint from coming to this platform and doing something? Absolutely nothing. Ditto inside a subway car, which is moving and will not stop until it reaches the next station. But while security in the subway is being upped, we're continually told that crime stats here are actually down and things are trending in the right direction. And we're told that the reason you or I or somebody else might feel unsafe on the train is all psychological.
I've heard from many people that the presence of the National Guard has made not just a physical difference, but a psychological difference.
I saw like officers like on duty, in which I was like, okay, like I'm safe here.
So a lot of what people are afraid of having happen
Your eyes
down
still
here,
work.
a physical altercation of some
Congratulations, your eyes
sort,
still
that
work.
stuff hasn't gone away. And some say it's actually being covered up. By the way, our statistics on crime are reported here. Bloomberg has an article about this showing that serious assaults are up. And then in this little paragraph right here, it talks about how assault statistics are not reliable or comparable across jurisdictions. For example, in 2022, only 40% of assaults were reported to police. Also, different law enforcement agencies have different definitions of assault. And according to Bloomberg, the NYPD doesn't record anything that constitutes aggravated assault. Instead, Bloomberg says our assaults in New York are divided into two categories.
Are you kidding me? This is why in these states they say crime is going down when it's rising. especially with the illegals and stuff. They're not reporting all the crime. So they can say, hey, crime's going down, but we're just not reporting all of it either, so take that as you will. Oh,
categories, one for misdemeanor assaults and one for felony assaults, and then assaults that would constitute the FBI's definition of aggravated assault. Those are somehow filtered out of both categories of assaults we do record and then are reported to the FBI. And apparently this poor method of record keeping, along with the underreporting of assaults in general, likely explains why crime can be down officially but actually be up in real life. And think of the effect decriminalization efforts have on who it is that's going to report crime. If you're a victim of a misdemeanor assault, why report that to the police if you're not going to try and locate the person, and if that person will just be given a desk appearance ticket and won't spend any time?
Hey, give us criminals a chance. We need a chance to roam free too. We need to be able to roam free in the circus.
I'm in jail. Critics say some people don't think reporting crime is worth it anymore.
The mental illness, the homeless, they need help.
The guardsmen are being added to the 750 on.
Again, as I said in videos, some homeless, they want to. They have a right to be homeless if they want to. As long as we don't interfere with your personal, space, your personal life and everything, and we're not, getting into your stuff and everything, or, that other businesses, stuff like that. I say, live, let live. Do whatever the F you want. That's what America is all about, really. That's what was created, one of the reasons creation is just live wherever you want. And government doesn't really have a right, though things have changed a lot, tell people what they can't do and live and stuff like that. As long as you don't do something criminal, But yeah, there are a lot of people on drugs. There is, mental health, with most and stuff like that. But there are some that I personally known. I thought about going homeless myself to raise money, get money, stuff like that. Live in a vehicle, So I just don't want to see discrimination take place.
Patrol since last March.
In the Oculus, I would see them. Penn Station, I'd see them.
They're also supposed to keep watch in the outer boroughs.
It's a deterrent to those who would break our laws and threaten other riders.
So there's a new element to all of this added security measures, and that is the case involving Jordan Neely. After that case, which garnered national attention, was completed, there all of a sudden was this massive effort on behalf of the city to start assisting the homeless who are in the subways, and also to increase the presence of law enforcement down here, which is odd. It took a massive court case playing out for people to realize that our laws don't exactly keep us safe, because they not only may have decriminalized behavior that puts everyone at risk, our laws also do not allow our leaders to intervene in a person's life when they're unable to care for themselves, which is
letting the clouds out could be a problem. Just
essentially creates a scenario where a person who's a danger to themselves or others cannot be sent to jail and also cannot get the help they need to become rehabilitated. And now Mayor Adams is leading a renewed outreach effort to the homeless to try and assist those who think that the subway is the only place where they have to stay, to go to a better place that's actually...
Well, the thing is, it's winter. You're having blizzards, snow, cold temperatures. They're not going to want to be outside because there'd be frozen icicles, popsicles. So that's probably why that maybe you should have added that to this video. Kind of surprised you did, because I can see your hair. It looks like it's been through some of the elements. I'm not being mean. I'm just saying I'm not trying to mean anything bad or negative. I'm just saying, it's cold out there. That's why I just had to add that. But
actually designed for them and isn't some loud public transit network. But even though efforts to assist the homeless and crack down on criminal activity are definitely appreciated by everyone, there are others who say that the timing of these new security initiatives is suspicious for another reason. And they say that reason is because not only is 2025 a local election year, but it's also the year New York City turns on its controversial tax on cars, which is going to make every single person who drives their personal vehicle into the city instead of taking the subway pay a fee not to put themselves in danger.
Oh, piece of shit.
So not only its controversial tax on cars, which is going to make every single person who drives their personal vehicle into the city instead of taking the subway pay a fee not to put themselves in danger.
5-minute cities, 15-minute cities. This is like World Economic Forum, one world government type of thing where politicians don't want you, the people, to use the vehicle anymore. They want to force you out of them, tax you, say it's for the environment, which is all bullshit. They try to do here with like 30% increase in gas in California, where it'd be 10-30 cents. We have these stupid ass politicians trying to create dictatorship where they don't want us to use vehicles, they want to just take away our freedoms. Whatever we do and say is for the environment, and it's a global scam, is what it is. It's all a fucking scam, like most other things.
So not only is the subway experiencing security and safety related issues at a time when people will be told they better use it or pay a fee, the amount of money that people have to pay to use the subway, that is also going up, which to a lot of people doesn't seem fair. After all, in order to charge more for something, you should improve the product and make it better, but we're being told we have to pay more to use the subway at a time when it may in fact be more dangerous.
So Steve, Natasha, right now it costs $2.90 to ride the subway, but that soon could be increased to $3 starting in probably August. This comes just weeks before congestion pricing is set to go into effect on January 5th. Now, congestion pricing will...
So, look at that. You now get to pay more money if you want to come down here and use the train, and if you don't, you have to pay even more because cars now have to pay a fee.
This adds up, just like fuel. This is just like fuel. These piece of shit politicians are robbing the people. This is why we had a revolution. Because of taxation. You see the problem that we have with our government and politicians? Taxing everything we do. We're not supposed to allow this to happen.
Just to drive around in certain parts of town, like anywhere below 60th Street in Manhattan, which is why there's now this big push to get everybody on the trains so that the subway can start earning more money and so that all the taxes from vehicles can be used to supposedly fund improvements to a place that already costs $20 billion a year and shows no signs of improving because of that massive amount of funding. But now all these added police officers, all of this new attention to security, it's coming at us pretty quick because these new plans to tax vehicles are already starting and may have already started by the time you watch this video. And it's almost as if our leaders have waited until the last possible moment to realize, hey, wait a second, things might not be super safe in the subway if we're gonna...
And also, this taxation also helps with the illegals as well. Though, illegals really isn't the problem of politicians that allowed all this stuff to happen. It's not, the illegals, it's politicians. And how they throw us under a bus and they treat us like shit. The only politicians only see us as one thing: potential cash machines, or a tool, or a weapon to be used as to their own agenda, political, sociological cause. I think people need to wake up to that. Because it's all a scam with the politicians and these taxes. Should be allowed.
Going to force people to use it, we better secure it. And the last thing they want is to tell people that they're going to be taxed if they don't take the train, only for people to come down here, try to use the train, and then realize how dangerous it really is.
There's too many crazy people out here, and the more that they have down here, the better.
The first time I saw it, it sort of jolted me back a little bit.
So, as you can probably tell, riders do not have...
People do not understand. If you use mass transit, that adds up. Every stop you have to go to. $6, $20, $30, $40 fucking dollars for these trips for just one day or something. You have to use these different hops. These different stops. Stops. Hops is pretty much with internet stuff and stuff. But same thing. Hops and stops and everything. They're robbing us. Everywhere they're doing this. That's a piece of
have a high opinion of the subway at all. Most people know that there's stuff going on down here that they'd rather not be going on at all, and it doesn't make people feel safe. And the question now is, have our leaders realized that if the entire populace starts to feel this way and starts to feel as if they're being punished for not using the subway, could their disdain for it turn into disdain for the people who might be running the city and the state? It could. There's a governor's election in 2026 and a mayoral election in 2025. But the idea of subway safety may be beyond anyone's control at this point because things are so out of hand currently. And it very well may be that no amount of extra police or militarization can cure a problem that is bigger than the subway itself. Because the reality is our legal system does not operate in a way that has public safety in mind. It has the safety of the criminals in mind. So
the criminals being the politicians, really. The criminals are politicians. That's overtaxing us. It's not just criminals. You have the criminals, and you have the criminals that are politicians that are making these taxes. They're ripping us off. Those are real criminals. Criminals are also politicians that allowed, this illegal situation to happen. With housing, trading our resources, taking our money, health care, and other stuff, and everything else. That falls on the politicians, the real criminals.
Elected officials are up against bad laws, a bad system, a security nightmare, if you will, but there's actually another issue that's going to keep popping up over the next few weeks as they try to force more people to use it.
A power outage brought some trains to a screech.
See the keyword force. Force people. It's against your will, pretty much, because there's taxation. They're saying for, global, environmental purposes. It's all a scam.
Halt during the afternoon commute yesterday. The issue so bad that some trains had to be evacuated, sending passengers walking through the subway tunnels. Today, Governor Hochul calling for an investigation into...
So this next one's a big one because the moment fares go up, people down here are going to be paying more for everything that we have around us right now. There's not going to be any immediate improvement. There will be the promise of immediate improvement, but the improvement...
It doesn't fix it. It doesn't fix it. It didn't fix it all. It doesn't fix the fact that we're overtaxed. We're getting ripped off out of the kazoo, out of our bleep holes, by criminal politicians. What about, they get to ride this stuff for free. Politicians, law enforcement, etc., they can ride this stuff for free. They don't have to pay because they're public servants. They can get one of those cards so they just go right in.
Itself isn't here and may never come. Remember, this system in its current form already costs $20 billion a year, and the fares go up every single year. And we're constantly told how the increases are needed to maintain the smooth operation of the subway and to continue improving it. And if the subway's current state is the result of a whole bunch of broken promises, and now we're going to layer more broken promises on top of the ones we already have, that's going to be bad for everybody who's in charge. And it's going to be a constant reminder to people riding the train that the promises they were given were not kept. And if you couple that with the fact that the city isn't really able to stamp out its crime problem down here, and the fact that this place is not going to be magically newer the day these car taxes start, there will be greater and greater amounts of people who, when they're down here, start to feel as if they were lied to.
This is what we know so far from the MTA.
We've been scammed by politicians. We have been frauded by politicians. Everything that, they say to do, they say it's for our own good. Like these drones and everything, they like to say it's about national security and our security, when in fact it's all a scam, and they use it to surveil us, to track everything that we do, see everything that we see, and everything else.
90-plus-year-old electrical substation had a fire, an explosion of some kind before the door blew off the hinges. Head of MTA, Jenna Lieber, said it was one of the, quote...
So here you have a 90-year-old piece of power equipment that exploded, shutting off power to multiple trains, stranding people in the evening when they're trying to get home from work, when it's rainy and cold out. People are going to be experiencing stuff like this on a regular basis as the fees to ride it down here go up and as the crime problem remains. And we might be getting to a point where our leaders realize that the subway is a massive liability. But even more than that, these constant problems that it's experiencing show that it can never truly be fixed because it's not a self-sufficient system. Because even if the subway was perfectly safe and there was no crime down here, it would still break down constantly because all of the money that's supposed to be for the purposes of fixing it gets wasted. Even though this place gets $20 billion a year, it just doesn't make sense. And after you raise the driving taxes and you tax all these...
Because they're putting it, all these tax dollars are not going towards the people. They're not. They're going into their own political causes, their projects, pet projects, pork barrel spending, just like Congress and congressmen. They have all this money for infrastructure, but all these, billions, tens of billions are also in political, sociological, think tank projects that doesn't go to where the money's supposed to go, us, the people. It's all a scam with all these bills. Not just infrastructure, but you're talking about local, you're talking about state, federal, all that together. And it's all a scam. It's all a lie.
These cars and funnel all that money into the subway and they fix everything now. How do we know things aren't going to end up just as they are today in a couple of decades? Our leaders can treat the people who live here like an ATM, but eventually it's going to be out of money. The only question now is, are the overdraft fees going to come due next election cycle, or will it take longer than that? It might happen sooner than expected. The city just...
So imagine having one of these cards, because some people can get a card for mass transit, right? You pay a certain amount a month or a year, a flat out fee. Now what if your card doesn't work at one of these machines? They don't let you on? No. If these machines can't read your card, you're fucked. You're fucked. You're not going to be able to get on. And these machines don't always work. Electronics doesn't always work.
Just rolled out some new subway cars and none of them work. Luckily, these new trains are still under warranty. They're going to get them replaced. But can you imagine if they weren't? This would just end up being another massive disaster and waste of money. And some people say it already is because according to the New York Post, the city paid double what Chicago paid for similarly equipped brand new train cars prior to 2020. But what do you think? Should the city be spending money on infrastructure improvements to a system that is dangerous and will continue being dangerous in the near future? Is it ever going to be possible for them to get a handle on the crime problem?
It's a scam, dude. I think you know it. You're just not saying it. You're just not saying it. It's that, you know, it's not this money that's allocated for all this stuff. It's not going to these projects. They're being diverted to other political, sociological, special think tank projects, you know, that's supposed to help, you know, the homeless, you know, whether it be in California, New York, or these other states. Instead of it's going to illegals or it's going to other projects, other, like I said, political, sociological causes / programs. And they're getting the money. And it's the normal citizens like us that suffer. I mean, they're going to keep on raising taxes. That's why I voted no for raising any more taxes. Because we, the people, are being scammed by our government.
Problems here so that people can enjoy the wonderful public transportation network of the future all New Yorkers have been promised. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much. I'll see you.
Oh my God, brother. Did a good video. Thank you. Thank you. Give the brother a like. He works hard for this stuff. He does. Let me see, do I dare go to this one? Army troops flood New York subway. I got this one here.
I want to go to the asylum crisis, as tens of thousands of migrants that are living in New York City shelters could soon be told to leave.
But the city insists parents and children won't be left.
I have to say this. As much as people are sick of illegals and stuff like that, I need to make clarification. I have to put this out. It's not, they are not the problem, really. I need to remind myself of this because I get pissed off. They aren't the problem. Our politicians created this problem. Both sides. If you're a Republican, Republicans had the House and the Senate. They could have voted for a border wall. They could have voted for surveillance, technologies, all this stuff. Okay? You know why they don't? Because they want to keep arguing over this issue. Democrats have had chances to also make abortion legal several times during Obama as well. Why did they make an amendment, making it legal, Constitution amendment? Because they want to keep fighting over it. They want to keep blaming each other over the scam. They don't want to fix things. They want to argue over it and say, hey, we're better than you, we're better than you on this and that. It's a never-ending story. But anyways, with this, okay, and I need to remember this, I think we all need to really see it for what it really is, how it's the politicians at fault, you know, for pretty much shitting on American people and doing this. They're the ones at fault.
Out on the streets.
So, what does that mean? What is...
I mean, these other countries, I've done different articles how even different militias in South America, they help some of these migrants get over here. They have different governments that have outlawed gangs where they are. They have super, super duper prisons where if you're in a gang, you're going to be in prison forever unless you're, get rid of your tattoos and probably have no association with gangs anymore. They've outlawed that. So there are different reasons, not just unstable government, which some do, Venezuela, stuff like that. But you're talking about, people from Africa, Syria, you got Lebanon, Iraq, Russia, Ukraine, China. Oh God, so many places, so many different countries. Somalia, Haiti. And we could stop this. They're coming here for a better thing, but some of these governments also don't want people to take care of. They don't want to take responsibility for their own people. They're saying, get the hell out of here. We don't want to take care of our own people. Go to America. Go to America. And this administration that we have is very much at fault for making it worse. It is already bad. It started over 20 years ago. It started with the Persian Gulf, and stuff like that. So
The plan.
So the 60-day evictions of families are now starting, but the city is already walking them back. For asylum seekers with children enrolled in New York City schools who, if they still need housing after 60 days, will be given a new permanent shelter placement. And while nobody here wants to see families with kids out on the streets, the city only announced this change after the presidential election for some reason.
Yeah, they did that for some reason. They definitely did that for some reason, all right. Yeah.
President-elect could run into some hurdles trying to implement mass deportations.
Yeah, experts say manpower is a major issue here, and if the feds ask the state for help, they would likely face pushback. But Trump does have some laws he can use to carry out his campaign promise.
That's absolutely right, and that kind of speaks to the complexity of this issue, right? We have seen the city grapple with this for quite some time now. But again, the city is once again reassuring these families that they are not just kicking them out and saying, hey, get out of here.
She says she started recording these videos of the food at this Long Island City shelter. Migrants living here say they're served moldy sandwiches, foul-smelling meals, and food that is still partially frozen. She says that's why the staff is often tossing out these big bags of uneaten food.
We know
that reminds me of jail food. So they're getting jail food now, and they're still.
That thousands of crimes have been committed in our city. And so I support President Trump's desire to prioritize the removal of people in this country who are committing crimes.
It will all happen within 2 weeks.
That's law professor Anna Patratz-Acosta talking about a federal law that allows the government to speed up deportations. Right now, she says the government only uses it near the border to handle people who cross into the country.
They're not doing anything at the border. They're not. They're not doing anything. They're letting them through.
Within the last couple weeks.
So families with kids in school will no longer be permanently evicted from city-run shelters. But what nobody's talking about is that ever since Donald Trump got re-elected, how the asylum crisis is managed here, that has become fragmented and now resembles a rudderless direct...
Well, I wonder if I could go to China, Vietnam, or another country, any country, France, Italy. If I could seek asylum over there, come from America, and get paid money. If I could get... Now, I know someone from OnlyFans. They're from South America, or whatever, or Africa, and they went to Italia, Italy, or France, or parts of Europe, or America even. And they're actually working for their freedom though, those girls. On OnlyFans, they're not getting all that free stuff. Versus, some that do. In the United States, a lot more in the UK. So they're working their way, which everyone's supposed to do. But can you imagine us going to our country, say, hey, I claim asylum or whatever. Can I get money each month for food, groceries, health care, free housing, and also in these countries, other than native people in these countries could get their asses thrown out of their own homes or apartments for somebody like me that's from a different country if they're getting funds from the government, which this is happening a lot. There's tens of thousands of Americans that have lost their homes to illegals because some of these people in these cities are making money off of illegals. They bought up the apartments, they bought up the motels, hotels, and or even houses. They kick the people out, the American people out, or other people in the UK, Europe, whatever. Okay? And they put in migrants or illegals in there. And they get paid by the government a lot more than native people can pay. So they're making money off of this, the politicians. They're getting some payback and stuff like that. So
Directionless ship, because not only has the city been forcing families in its shelters to move every 60 days to new shelters for...
The thing is, they're trying to come here for a better life. The thing is that we don't owe anybody. Our ancestors had to work their asses off for it. I have some Native American, so that means obviously, they've been here forever, stuff like that. But it's like, yeah, everyone's an immigrant. That too. But we had to work for it. We didn't get anything for free. None of us got anything for free.
For months now, citing statistics that reveal some get fed up with constant relocations and just decide to leave on their own, the city's taken other actions that look somewhat contradictory to this new offer of free permanent housing, like canceling its debit card program that gave asylum seeker families $350 a week for food, which the city claimed was a massive success because it apparently saved everyone money while eliminating food waste, something that's now happening again at many of our shelters as the quality of food asylum seekers are receiving has dropped drastically. And now these places are throwing food right back into the trash, uneaten and unedible. And that brings us to the real reason why the city is now halting evictions of families who've got kids enrolled in public schools. Politically, it looks and sounds incredibly compassionate in the face of Donald Trump's deportation agenda. And we're America's largest sanctuary city. But even though we're a sanctuary city, critics say our shelter system has been jerking families around for months in an attempt to get them to decide to leave on their own. Yet because we're a sanctuary city and the home of the Trump resistance effort, New York has decided to double down on progressive plans to fix the homelessness many families are experiencing, not by preparing them to live on their own independently, but instead keeping them trapped in tiny hotel rooms, eating questionable food in the name of compassion, while the owners of those hotels get filthy rich. Which, as you're about to...
Not all of them are. They're not. They can't force these illegals out. And they're forced usually not to be able to say anything, but stuff has been leaked out on some press sites where the owners of these, former employees, maintenance workers have worked at these places. Now saying how trashed up all these hotels are, fires inside and stuff like that, and they don't throw stuff out, they let stuff accumulate and stuff like that. But they said they can't force them out because by law, that's the way that the laws are there. They can't kick them out. They're forced to keep them there, whether they like it or not.
CC reveals that our asylum crisis seems destined to sustain itself no matter who's running America. So here, with the American flags, we have the Roosevelt Hotel, which is a 1,000-room shelter for families, as well as the Welcome Center for every new asylum seeker that arrives in town, where they need to go in order to get placed in a shelter. But the problem is our shelter system here is full, and for months now we've had rolling evictions of adults and families on 30 and 60-day time frames, a practice city officials have defended as being necessary to free up bed capacity, but now those plans are being rolled back, and the plans to do that only materialized after the results of the recent presidential election.
President-elect Trump's mass deportation threats concerning many immigration advocates, fears amping up after Trump posted on Truth Social that he agreed with the idea of declaring a national emergency and using the military to deport. Trump said that he is...
So New York City's eviction policies when it comes to its overcrowded shelters have always been a source of contention right here. And as you can imagine, families with little kids getting moved out of places like this every few months, it's particularly hard on them. And critics say that's on purpose because statistics show that some of the families who leave never come back. Where they go after leaving the shelter is anyone's guess. The city does not keep track of that information, only that a family has left. And some of the families who moved into these midtown hotel shelters ended up getting relocated to some of the most remote facilities in the entire system, like the tent shelters, which exist over at Floyd Bennett Field and look like those pictured here on Randall's Island. And because of this policy, kids who used to have an easy commute to school now had to commute hours on buses and trains, which around here are notoriously unreliable. And this was a policy that had been going on for the last several months, but now they're changing it because the president's changed, I guess. But city leaders defended this policy as being necessary. And humane, even though critics contend the city was deliberately making things difficult for asylum.
6,000 families left behind. Nearly 9 in every 10 of them had to move to another shelter, according to data from the mayor's office that was shared with city council officials and obtained by Gothamists. Adams' policy allows evictees with nowhere to go to reapply for shelter, and about a third of the evicted migrant families who remained in the shelter system after boroughs, according to the data, up from 5% as of March 3rd.
Seekers. Now, whether this process was intentionally hard on families or unintentionally hard on families, we're never going to know. But one thing that we do know is now that the election is over, New York City is being looked at as a place that needs to resist a president many progressives do not support. And now
I think this is an older one. Because they're starting to change that. Oh, 3 days ago? 3 days ago?
Now, policies that weren't humane in the past all of a sudden aren't, and now they're changing. Which is a weird reaction to plans that the new president has, which could get gang members and criminals off of our streets and out of shelters like this one where we know they're living. Look, here's a mom in front of this very same building talking about how she's afraid her kids will get swept into the criminal underworld because criminals live in this building. But because New York is now trying to resist all of Donald Trump's immigration plans, critics say this could create a pathway for some of the wrong people to keep living in places like this.
We know that thousands of crimes have been committed in our city, and so I support President Trump's desire to prioritize the removal of people in this country who are committing crimes.
So a new president gets elected, announces a deportation agenda targeting criminals, and what does the city do? Well, they cancel their own deportation agenda because that's what these revolving evictions were. Jerking people around, having them move every couple of months to a new place. That is...
Imagine how that pisses them off. That pisses them off against us. This is the politicians that created this problem. Listen, I think there's been, let me see. I think everyone gets the gist of all this, of how it's going and stuff like that. Let's see here.
Is its own deportation agenda because it gets people to give up on a system that they were welcomed into, that was designed to help them in the name of compassion, and then doesn't do that. And it looks extremely hypocritical for the city to do this. Furthermore, this pause in evictions comes just a few weeks after our leaders were all celebrating the first major declines in the number of new arrivals coming here seeking shelter to begin with. And because less people were coming here and people were being moved around the shelter system, the number of people in the city's care also dropped. At the end of last year, the city had around 68,000 individuals in its care. And that number's dropped by around 10,000 people. So the asylum crisis here overall is getting smaller. And according to this article, for every 600 asylum seekers that arrive in the city on a bus or on a train looking for a place to stay, 1,400 leave this very same system. And these declines were being touted as a major achievement, a success story showing how well New York has managed this crisis from day one and how they're helping people. But if that were true, why would they change their policies to allow people to stay in the shelters longer if moving them out is such a great thing? And what about the dangerous gang members who live in these places and make them less safe?
Well, Trump's promised policies of mass deportation are spreading fear among millions of undocumented people living in this country, whether it's new asylum seekers or dreamers who've been here for decades. The issue front and center here in New York City, the New York Immigration Coalition working feverishly to fight back against President-elect Trump's immigration policy.
So it doesn't seem to matter to anybody advocating against President Trump's deportation plans that ICE only has around 6,000 people right now who can act in a deportation role, or that everybody involved in this, including the new border czar, have mentioned repeatedly that they are only going to target criminals and dangerous individuals. On top of that, the local ICE officials in New York are saying that it will take a lifetime to deport all of the criminals that are here. And even though most asylum seekers are not here to join...
It says it would take that long for the migrant criminals. Not for illegals, but for the criminals? Are you fucking kidding me? Our politicians really, that shows how much love they got for us.
Join gangs or be criminals, since we're a huge sanctuary city and we've got laws that help the bad guys evade the federal government, who has rules in place that are meant to keep people safe, including many of the asylum seekers that live in this hotel. Critics are saying those sanctuary city laws act as a magnet for criminals because they can come here and hide from authorities. Yet because there's so much progressive pressure on New York to resist everything the incoming president wants to accomplish because of who he is, we're now going to start doing things in New York that very well may lead to more criminals deciding to come here specifically because of what we offer people who the government is looking for. And the city's already experienced a whole bunch of protests against a deportation agenda that could actually make this place safer for immigrants who aren't here to commit crime. And with most asylum seekers and law-abiding immigrants having a legal right to remain here, these protests, all they do is spread fear among people who aren't actually at risk from any sort of deportation. But even though the mayor has come out against mass deportations and the city is halting evictions it was so proud of before the election, the fragmented nature of New York's asylum crisis continues when you look at the other ways the city is making things, some say deliberately worse for the 56,000 asylum seekers who are still in its care. So there's a massive dump truck here, and this is the back of the Roosevelt Hotel where they throw things out. There's also someone here in military gear who has some sort of ID, not sure what that's all about. But what's interesting is even though the city is now allowing people to stay permanently in these shelters if they've got kids in school, the actual accommodation that they're providing people with is so bad, many folks might decide to leave just because they can't take it anymore. And a lot of what gets thrown out at these shelters are the meals the city pays for asylum.
I've actually seen some illegals say that they would like to go back. I've seen some of them on camera say that if they could get a free ticket back, they could get, a free way back, they would take it. Because of some stuff that's happened here and stuff like that. So
asylum seekers to eat, which are apparently so bad, nobody can eat them.
That's why she says she started recording these videos of the food at this Long Island City shelter. Police and other migrants living here say they're served moldy sandwiches, foul-smelling meals, and food that is still partially frozen.
As a mother, it hurts to see my children cry because they don't want to eat the food at the shelter.
So, to refresh your memory, just a couple of weeks ago before the election, there was a debit card program that gave asylum seekers money that they could use to go out and buy their own food because everyone knows the food in these shelters is absolutely horrible. Now, the city has canceled that program even though they said it saved money and eliminated food waste, and now they're telling people that, hey, you can stay in the shelters as long as you want, but apparently you've got to put up with the terrible food we serve here, and they will then permanently evict themselves, which lines up with what the news is showing us. We've got a meal plan that's so bad, nobody wants.
The problem is that this leads to criminality, criminal, offenses being, happening and stuff like that. Which is happening in the video. These are videos, this video and our videos, just going to liquor stores, stuff like that, just taking food. This is a politician's fault. They had no business doing what they're doing in the first place. They're supposed to take care of us, the people, too. And they threw us under a bus and just said, fuck you, Americans. We're going to give everything to these people. And now that you have, the new administration coming in, Trump coming in, and stuff like that, it's like, well, okay, things are going to have to change a bit. But we don't want to change too much because we don't want his side to, we don't want to give him too much leverage either. But we don't want to give you guys too much either. So let's just fuck both sides over. That way we could just say, hey, we tried.
Wants the shelter the meal plan comes with. That's our asylum crisis now. And we're America's largest sanctuary city that claims to care about immigrants. And when you consider that just a few weeks ago the city had no problem providing people with the means to buy their own food, it almost looks like this new anti-eviction policy with the removal of the debit cards is just a reallocation of resources.
Nice.
And now that program's gone, it's possible that 14,000 families may now have the opportunity to stay here as long as they can put up with the food. Yet politically, this sounds compassionate.
She says that's why the staff is often tossing out these big bags of uneaten food provided by Healthy Heart Food.
I've had those bags. I've had that type of food. In a lot of ways, I don't think that some of the illegals should complain about that because I've had to have that food myself. What I'm saying is, sometimes you should be glad you're just getting something when you're homeless. You should. It may be dog shit, some of it, but let me tell you, a lot of stuff that I've had in those bags, either leftovers, ain't so bad, stuff that is, you're not just not going to eat it. You're not going to eat it. You're not. Then again, some people can eat. Man, I know some people that eat raw hamburger. It's true, no bullshit. Hamburger, not steak, not rare steak, but hamburger meat. It just warms up a little bit in the microwave, and just a little bit of salt, bloody and stuff. Some people can eat stuff that other people won't. But me, I've had that type of stuff myself. It's like, it's not as bad that some people think it is, but it could be, it depends. It's case by case basis, of course, you know. So what I'm saying is, oh God, it's a case by case basis, you know.
Food Service, a vendor with more than $20 million in active contracts, Healthy Heart stands behind and takes great pride in the high-quality food it supplies to all of.
Now look, the news says the food's bad. I've spoken to people who work at these facilities, and they say the food's bad, but the CEOs of these companies say that it's not. And how much do you want to bet that both sides are right? These companies aren't delivering.
They can admit that's dog shit. They can admit that's bad for you. Hell no. Because that would open up the floodgates to lawsuits. Hell no, they can admit that. Hell no. Of course they're going to say it's great, it's healthy for you. Eat some more, baby, eat some more. Have some more. Have some more, baby. That ain't green penicillin on there. That's a green jello you got on. That's a green jelly. That's what it is, this new flavor jelly. Have some. Get some while you can. You don't want it to grow too much.
Delivering food that's unedible. They're giving it to the city, who is then supposed to store it and serve it to people. And perhaps that is when the unedible part of this whole debacle comes to light.
What if the food that's sent to these shelters is improperly handled and stored and it goes bad before it's supposed to? What if these meals are being pulled out of the freezer and just given to people?
Hey, cold temperatures can't last forever. There's going to be some warm days. Just say.
Or worse, what if they're unfrosted and then refrozen because nobody ate them and they tried to save money?
And if the meals that were getting delivered to places like this were coming off the trucks and were obviously rotten and unedible, why would they bring them inside and try to serve them to people? That doesn't make sense at all. But look at this. One of the news reports shows one of the meals that people are complaining about, and it has instructions on it saying that it was packaged on October 7th and is supposed to be frozen from then until it's eaten, which has to happen before December 7th, which does reveal that the food people are getting in these places was probably made weeks ago. And if it's going to sit for a long period of time in one of these facilities while it waits to be eaten and anything goes wrong, that could cause it to spoil, and that could explain everything.
But one says the complaints keep coming about other vendors.
They're not jello.
Services would not agree to an interview, but sent CBS News New York a statement saying, in part, protecting the health of our clients is a top priority. And the Department of Homeless Services.
You know, it doesn't seem to matter how much time, effort, or reform.
Trust us, we're the government. We're the city. We're here to help you. That ain't mold. That's a new kind of jelly. Green jelly. Tastes it. Good. Oh yeah.
Is put into our shelter system. It's still not a system that's helping people or accomplishing the goal that it's supposed to have. After all, shelters are supposed to help people get back on their feet. Yet with our shelters instituting revolving door evictions, 30 days for single adults, 60 days for families, and keeping that process going for a long time, it's pretty obvious that people are being forced out of these spots before they're actually ready to go. And now they're going to get to stay, but things are going to be so uncomfortable inside of these places that many people may choose not to. They're going to leave the second they're able to do so. And then the city will have another success story to celebrate because more people are voluntarily leaving the shelters and are not requesting more time inside of them. Yet none of this is a success story. In many cases, you've got people living in tents outside of some of the shelters they've been evicted from because they haven't achieved anything. They're not back on their feet. They're not living the American dream that many of these folks...
I want that place. I want that place. Look at the scene. Oh my God, that is drop dead gorgeous. Oh my God, that's prime real estate. I'm going homeless tomorrow, baby. I'm going homeless tomorrow, baby. Look at that. Seaside Resort. Oh my fucking God. Look at that beautiful view. You can't buy that kind of scenery there anymore. Not without millions. The city won't permit it. I'm going homeless tomorrow, amen. I see the promised land. Tell me to go home. We all packing our bags. That's the promised land right there.
Folks were welcomed off buses at the bus terminal and then brought over to shelters believing was at their fingertips. And whether you think New York is doing the right thing by offering shelter to people or not is besides the point. These facilities, because we're a sanctuary city, they're dangerous. Police cannot go inside and arrest the bad guys, which is why some of the bad guys, gang members, are now living in them. What do you think about that? Are New York's shelters actually helping people? And are President Trump's deportation plans that are going to target gang members and criminals a bad thing for a sanctuary city? Are they a bad plan for a place that's got problems with gangs that its own laws don't allow our leaders to get off the streets? What do you think? Thank you so much for
I've had multiple city leaders, politicians and presidents, and dictators alike say, get that Tato off the street. He doesn't belong there. So I think we should all just take a step back and think about that before we get to this beautiful next segment of how women want you to talk to them. So leave a like, leave a comment, tell me what you think. Us Tatos go through a lot every day and night.
The way you talk to women is one of the most important factors of
That's
your
Martha
sex and relationship
Vickers.
life.
You like Martha Vickers too, huh? She did a good job. I believe that's Martha Vickers. That was from 1940s. You like that kind of? I like those movies too. Those are real movies.
Whether you're single and dating or in a long-term relationship, knowing how to talk to her will make the difference between sparks flying and a total lack of interest. In this video, I'm going to share 3 of the most powerful tactics that you can use to spark attraction with any woman you're speaking to, no matter how long you've known her. The thing about females...
That face that she made, let's see if I go back here. Hold on a sec.
that you can use to spark attraction with any...
That face right there, that says a lot. That face. She's really interested in what you have to say, but she's ready to laugh at something funny as well. Body language says it all. About a woman, about, you know, what she likes about the way you talk or whatever. She's really interested in what the person was doing there.
Any woman you're speaking to, no matter how long you've known her. The thing about female sexuality is that it is largely a mental game. In order to feel a...
I gotta say, before we get into this, I put a lot of humor into this. Why? Because we need humor. I'm sick of always, you know, doing stuff that's not humorous. But there's gonna be some good education with this stuff. Amen. That'll be good stuff. Thank you, Caitlin. I'll give you a like. Give her a good like as well. She has some good stuff there.
aroused, we need to actually feel emotionally stimulated and brought to a level of anticipation. It's true what they say about our brains being our biggest sex organ. And if you aren't satisfying that part of her, well, the truth is that you don't really stand a chance to satisfy any other part, no matter how much you might want to. The good thing is that there are a few really simple things that you can do to talk to a woman in the way she actually wants you to. And if you do these things, you will notice the difference immediately. Let's dive right in. But before we do, I have to ask a question. Are you subscribed to this channel? If you find this
absolutely not,
other 700
how
videos
dare
helpful, why not hit subscribe? It will keep you in my community so that you never miss out on a video like this one. All right, so now that you've done that, let's get into it. The first tip for talking to women is to get flirty and fast. Everyone loves to be flirted with. I do not care if this is someone you are just getting to know or your wife of 20 years. If she is a woman with blood running through her veins, she will enjoy that little flush in the cheek that comes with a good flirtatious banter. Plus, if you are at all...
If you go to a woman at a store, you give them a smile, you have to have, not exactly, is it bravado? But you have to have that vibe. You gotta have that vibe with them. That kind of look, you just give that look and everything, you're there to do business, you're there to be serious as well. But from time to time, you just, talk to them, make some jokes along the way. Or whatever, or a little humor, not jokes so much, but humor. I say humor, not jokes. Be careful about jokes, but make some humor. And have that kind of, body language, goes a long way.
All interested in more than a casual encounter with her, you need to let her know right away by moving the conversation into flirtatious territory. The problem is that most guys just straight up don't know how to flirt, which is a shame because it is really...
Look at a woman in her face and her eyes. Sometimes look up and down, look, not too much. Don't look like some sicko. Okay? I think most guys know. So there's some commenters that said, I wish I would have known this way back, high school and stuff. Look at her, look at her eyes. You're like the way she smiles. You're like her face. I like her hair. I think it's kind of wild. I like the wild look. I like all kinds of different, hairdos. I mean, I'm not into shaved heads. But I like hers. Hers, I like the kind of wild look. I like it. This stuff. So I'd be smiling at her and just, and stuff like that. I'd be talking to her serious. I'd want to listen to her. I would want to know what she likes and dislikes and stuff like that. But so much is body language. You don't want to be too serious where you're just like a stone. And sometimes when we just go out to a store or something like that, we're just there to do business and that's it. But I'm talking about other areas, off time, stuff like that. Sorry, Caitlin.
Not as complicated as many people think. The key is just to find a flirting style that works for you. To keep things simple, let's just divide flirting up into 3 categories. There's complimenting, playful teasing, and cheeky self-referencing. Complimenting is the most straightforward. We really aren't that complicated, I promise. But the key to a great compliment is to notice something about her that not many people would. She'll enjoy hearing that she looks beautiful, of course. But if you compliment her in a way that she feels seen, especially if it's for something that she chose and not something that she was born with, like her sense of style as compared to like her eyes, that's going to have a much stronger compliment. Make the compliment as specific to her and to the moment as possible. Don't just tell her that she looks nice, tell her that the way that the light is hitting her makes her look great.
Trust me, as a writer, I am an erotic writer, romance writer, okay? So I've gotten to know a lot of celebrities and adult celebrities and stuff like that. It isn't just, sex and stuff like that. You gotta look at the hair, gotta look at the eyes, the way it shines, how it looks in the wind, how the sun also reflects off of it. Something romantic and stuff like that. Like what she's saying. Her teeth, her earrings, her eyebrows, shoulders, nice beautiful soft skin, looks moisturized as well, well taken care of. Her blue eyes, just like the ocean waves. Just like the nice blue water of the ocean. You can see the ocean. I'm not going to give away much. Jesus Christ. I don't want to. But I like that that white hair. Reminds me of angel cake. You know, angel cake and stuff like that. The eyebrows, I like it has a nice brown, not blonde, but light brown, blondish in there. So the earrings, nice studded earrings in there. Beautiful. She has a nice, beautiful smile. She has beautiful lips. All this stuff. There's so much to make her feel good about that we're supposed to do. Compliment them and everything else. So she has beautiful curves, of course, as well.
Radiant. The way that she's wearing her hair really brings out her face and her eyes. Find a detail and then focus on that. Next up is playful teasing, also self-explanatory. Now, teasing is flirtatious because it suggests that we are a lot closer already than we already are, especially.
One thing to break the ice, and this is, both sexes and just with people in general. I like to make jokes at my expense. At my expense, because that's the easiest way to make jokes without offending anybody. If you can make jokes about yourself, people can laugh about that a lot easier than other kinds of jokes. Those are the easiest to do. And stuff like that. That's just for breaking ice. And then as you talk and you learn things, how they are, what they like or dislike, you get a feel for them. And to make jokes off of different stuff like work, going doing things, what they do, making jokes out of, situations and stuff like that. Just so many different areas of life. It doesn't have to be, keep politics out of it. Keep that out of it. Keep a lot of the news, stuff that's on the news. Keep stuff out of a conversation that could be easily divisive, and stuff like that. Focus on each other. Focus on each other's beauty. Focus on stuff that they're talking about already. Go off of that. Pretty much in a conversation that's already in play.
Especially if you just met someone. Most of the time you don't tease people until you're very close to
them.
You
don't ever do that. Don't ever do that unless you want to get bitch slapped or something. You don't ever do that. That's for people that have known people for like 10, 15 years. Or since childhood.
The trick to doing this well is to keep it light and not to hit on any sore spots. Teasing has a lot of different levels, and once you get past a certain one, it's just a turnoff. It is never a good idea to put a person down. That is not playful teasing. The kind of teasing that I'm talking about is cheeky and gentle. It's something that you can both laugh at, like her Midwestern accent, or the fact that she cleared out all of the cheese from the charcuterie board at the mixer. And lastly, we have self-reference. This is when you either playfully build yourself up or share something about yourself in a fun, cheeky way. This looks like you calling yourself big and strong when you offer to help her with a task, or jokingly just tell her that you're trying to impress her. Women like to feel desired, and playfully hinting at your desire to get in her good books is...
And she's laughing out of nervousness. She's laughing because she's nervous. Because she didn't like saw it as a big joke. Like, are you fucking kidding me? But
confident and an attractive way to communicate. Two of my favorite all-time definitions of flirting is amusing ourselves with another person and pretending that we have achieved a level of closeness and intimacy that we haven't. Now, I really like the first one because, yeah, amusing yourself. Flirting is for you. Flirting is having a good time for you and inviting another person along the way. All right, I want to say thank you to the sponsor of this video and introduce you to Joy Mode. Joy Mode makes natural and science-backed wellness products for men. Their sexual performance booster is like a pre-workout, but for sex. If you're like me and you want to put only high quality things in your body that help it to perform at its best, Joy Mode has created a product that will support erection, firmness, and quality, supports sex drive, and supports healthy blood flow to the areas that need it most. It's very simple to use. All you do is mix one of these packets with water and drink it 5 hours to 45 minutes before sexual activity in order to experience that.
That's one thing you could say. Her hair matches her eyes, the beauty in her eyes, stuff like that, and everything. Nice top, curves, goes well with the curves and everything else. So.
Boost in the bedroom. Whether you're really happy with your sex life already and you just want to perform a little bit better, or you just want to make sure that your partner is getting the best.
It's terrible. I've never had sex in my life.
Joy Mode is like a pre-workout, but for
I'm an 80-year-old virgin.
I recommend that you check it out. They're offering a special 20% discount.
I'm an 80-year-old virgin that's saving himself for the one woman he loves. He'll never find.
Subscribers of my channel. All you have to do is go to usejoymode.com/CaitlinV and enter CaitlinV at checkout. Now, these are just three examples of flirting. Not everyone is going to be good at all three. The issue is that so many men try to fit themselves into a style that doesn't actually work for them. So just play around with it and see what comes naturally to you and then practice that. Tip number 2, be present. This second tip is so simple that it hurts. But what hurts even more is that so many men struggle with it. Be present, like truly present. So many guys get caught up in the mission of trying to impress a woman that they struggle to actually stay in the moment.
Overdoing it, a girl knows when you're overcompensating, when you're overdoing it, and you're just mumbling gibberish stuff and everything. They know that they're wise to that stuff. They know from the get-go. When they're kids, when they're children, that man and boys overcompensate. They oversay things and stuff like that. So it's like mothers will tell them only believe half of what a man or a guy says. Only believe half of it until you see it with your own eyes. You know what I'm saying? The guys that overdo it, it's just going to be obnoxious to that girl or woman. You know what I'm saying? It's just going to be obnoxious. They're going to get sick and tired of it. You know what I'm saying? So.
Moment and actively participate in the conversation. Maybe you're focused on trying not to say the wrong thing. Maybe you're focused on trying to get her in bed or trying to get her to like you. Maybe you're focused on the game happening in the TV screen behind her. I really hope it's not that one.
Yeah, babe. Exactly. I've told porn stars that I know, it's like, how the fuck can any guy watch a stupid sports game when they have you? That makes no fucking sense. I say, why do that when I could fuck you all morning, noon, night? Are you kidding me? I'd be going hours and hours. I say, fuck the football game, stupid sports. I'm not interested in sports unless I'm doing sports. That's the first thing with me. Okay? If I got a beautiful woman, I'd be having love making and sex hours and hours and hours and stuff like that. Let me tell you, it's be hour on, hour off, here, there, times in different places and stuff like that. I mean, Jesus Christ, I can't believe guys are so damn stupid. But that's, oh my God, man. You do that to her go sports, your woman is going to go after a guy like me. They're going to look for a guy like me to pleasure them on OnlyFans or something. Where they can get the pleasure they don't get from their man or woman. And I get plenty of women, I've had women that are, they like other women, they came to me and stuff like that. So.
But I get it. They're very distracting. Whatever.
That's although I don't hardly do anything anymore. But I'm just saying. Women want to be left, they're to go somewhere else because you ain't doing your job. Man and woman got that right. After a while. You have to keep things going with them. Got to earn your keep. Both do. Both sides got to do that. You got to maintain your commitment to each other. And that's what is a commitment. If it isn't, break things off, go to the other person. Capiche?
Whatever it may be, the only thing that you should really be focusing on when speaking to a woman is her and the words coming out of her mouth, and then I suppose the way that she is saying it too. But really try to process and reflect on the things that she is saying and how she is saying them. Pay attention to her body language and her tone. Be thoughtful when you are replying. It is not rocket science, but it will literally put you ahead of 80% of all men. This one is super important if you are single and dating, but maybe even more important if you're in a long-term relationship. So many relationships fall trapped to routine and boredom because we're not really fully there. It can feel like you're on autopilot when you're with your partner if you are not truly present and engaged. And this is the worst thing that can happen to both your emotional connection and your physical one. Some tips to staying present are just simply listen intently. Make sure you're breathing steadily, feel your feet on the ground, make plenty of eye contact while you're speaking. I said it earlier in this video, but women are desperate.
If you use blow-up dolls, you might not want to tell anybody. Just don't. Keep it in the closet. Keep it in the closet. Right? It won't just help you. It'll help everybody like you so much more.
To feel seen, it is such a turn on for us. So making her feel like you're truly present, like you see her. Yeah. When you are talking to her, you are engaged with her. That is going to help her to feel seen and eventually, more importantly, turned on.
Make her a part of your world, like she's the only thing. Let time stand still when you're with that woman. Don't let anything else get in that way. If you don't always have time, make certain time. Don't fuck it up. Or else they're going to go after looking for somebody like me to give them that pleasure if you're not doing it. But, that's the thing. You got to make them feel wanted. They got to do that with you, too. But I see so many guys failing with that. I see both sides. I've been on both sides of the fence with that. Where both sides, have to, do more for their partner and stuff like that. But when you're with a woman, you're with a beautiful woman. Let time stand still. Look at that beautiful face, that body, the eyes, the hair. Look how the sun, the light, totally radiates off of her. Most beautiful.
As importantly, it's not more important. Number 3, callbacks and follow-ups. My final tip when talking to a woman.
The most beautiful woman ever created. That's what you got to do for that woman. That she is a product of the gods themselves. That they molded her.
Is to make sure to keep the previous threads from other conversations that you've had in mind. Because a big part of talking is listening. And trust me, from my own dating experience, this is where men really can improve very simply and easily.
Yeah.
Showing her that you remember your conversations and taking a genuine interest in how things pan out for her will go a long way towards making her feel valued and cared for. So if you see her after work knowing that she had a big meeting that day, ask her specifically how her meeting went. If she shared something that she was feeling nervous or bummed about in a previous...
Don't go to football. Don't go to football or sports.
Conversation. Try checking in on her and letting her know that you're thinking of her in that way. But it isn't just nice to bring up the more meaningful or heavy things. You can also call back to something that she said before that made you laugh. Or you can tell her that you've been thinking about her, you're missing her, you can't stop imagining the way that she looked at dinner the last time that you saw her. She's on your mind all...
Let me tell you, some of the women I've done and I've worked for, and some of the women in porns I know. You better make it where they're thinking about you all the time. That they're wet for you and stuff like that. They're thinking about you, they're throbbing for you. And everything else, that's how it better be. They better be wet for you and all that other stuff. This is 18 plus. This is 18 plus. No kiddies in the chat for this stuff. Alright? That's the way it has to be. You know, you get that, they're to tell you that. They're to tell you that they think about you all the time. That they're moist for you and all this other stuff. You know, they're to come home, they're to tell you that, they're to be on the phone, they're to be horny for you, and stuff like that. That's how you know, because they're to tell you that. There's so many different words I can't use on here.
All of these things are phenomenal ways that let us know that you are listening to us. Bringing the past into the present is a great way of letting her know that she's on your mind, even when you're not together. It makes her feel like she's a special part of your inner world, which is something that all women want. It really doesn't take that much, guys, I promise. Remember, the most important thing when talking to a woman, or anyone for that matter, is approaching it with a sense of confidence in your skin. If you are someone who struggles with...
He did just perfect right there, man. You go like, dude. Show him you're a man. Show him you're a tiger. No. Anyways.
With self-esteem, or aren't sure that you have what it takes to chat up any woman in the room, well, I want to tell you that me and my team have worked with hundreds of men who felt the same way and are in a totally different place now. So if you are interested in getting some personalized coaching from me or one of my certified coaches,
I would love some personalized coaching from her. I would love some, because I'd love to give her some loving and I'd love to give her some real affection. But anyways, love and affection, yes. She'd be someone I'd love to talk to about different, topics and stuff like this. She's done adult video and stuff like that. And she's someone I'd love to get her insights on so many different issues. And she has a lot of videos I love to like. Stuff like that. She's talked about how, porn is for entertainment, how it's not real like it is with sex and stuff like that. And now, I know from porn, especially, the guy-girl stuff. That's where it's just, entertainment. But I know from a lot of women I know in porn, the girl stuff, you know that there's real chemistry. With some, boy-girl scenes is what they call it, stuff like that. You're going to know that there's chemistry by how they react to each other, the stimulation that's involved. But with some of those videos, I feel like, she just said, because a lot of it just is entertainment. Some of it can educate you and I about lovemaking, though. Some can. And stuff like that. And help you please your partner and everything. So, anyways, anyway, tell me what you think. Let's see. Just go talk. I have the most successful strategy I have discovered is to not bother talking to them. The peace is perfect. I think this is a problem, though, right? Let me tell you, these days I think the problem is both men and women, girls, guys, don't want to put in that effort anymore. It's actually a sad thing. It's actually sad. But I see the reasons. Because it's a huge commitment. You're committing your whole life, so much of your life, into that one person. Where it's easier just to say, 18 plus conversation. Again, not for kids. Now this is for kids. It's easier just to watch porn, get off on porn. It's free. I don't have to worry about any arguments, my feelings getting hurt for both sides, man and women. I don't have to worry about children either. I don't have to worry about child payments. If I just avoid relationships. It's just like go important. This is both men and women that I know. Guys and girls that I know of. Guys, girls with OnlyFans. They don't want to have relationships that much, or some that have. It's like, it's more of the norm nowadays where, if anything, just have sex, and that's it. Fuck buddies or whatever. And if you're going to do that, you better get tested. You better get tested, because if you do porn, I just say this, I have to put this in there. You do that, you're getting tested. You have to get tested all the time before you do a sex scene and stuff like that. And that's what most village idiots don't understand, is that people think, oh my God, you're going to get all these VDs, all these venereal disease, STDs. That's bullshit. You have to get tested all the time in the adult system, in adult video. You have to be tested. Okay? You cannot do a scene without getting tested for an STD. It's not going to happen. Unless, some of those, go without tests. You have to get a test, though. You have to. Let me see here. Many men are taught by their fathers to work hard, be honest, get a college degree, be stoic and career-oriented. That's very smart. These men's dads were never playboys or flirts, and their sons aren't either. Lots of men are reserved, introverted, scholarly. That's also a problem as well. There's good and bad with that. Is that there's a point where it becomes toxic. Terrible glorious women, small talk women, for those quieter men. Yeah, and me, I can be very quiet. But some of the women that I've known, this is the thing. Some of the women I've got to know with OnlyFans, they can bring you out of your shell and speak more freely, or more, you don't want to do the stupid sexual talk. No, you don't do that. You don't do that. You make the other person feel loved. You make them feel like they're an actual person. Okay? I'm talking about coming out of your shell. I'm not talking about relationship stuff, but it helps. With some stuff that I've learned. Okay? Some other women, not as much. But let's see, small talk with women for those quiet, difficult, and awkward, yes. I'm very quiet sometimes. Until I get to know a woman, I'm very quiet. You know, I've had, let me see, some programs I've been involved with in the past. I've had girls, you know, ladies, tell me, I don't know why he's so quiet. I wonder what he's really like. And one of my friends, he'd say, well, wait until you get to know him. You get to know him, he's a lot different. And I am. Good or bad. Good or bad. So, I like to observe. I like to watch people and see what they may like or dislike before I go in. It's crazy. When I was in jail, some dumbass idiots thought I was a fucking cop. Because I would observe. And that's the thing. I like to be smart about things. I don't want to insert myself into any situation. I like to see who's who, how they act beforehand, and then say, maybe this person's okay, maybe that person. No. Maybe this one person right here is okay. That's what I do by observing. It's like an intelligence thing that I do as well. Reconnaissance is surveillance, but sounds crazy, but that's how I do. Anyways, so I introverted because they are the life of the party. You don't have to be the life of the party, though. The life of the party. That only works for a while. Okay? That becomes a past tense. The guys that were, the life of the party, they have to come crashing down to reality. They'll only be the life of the party for that X amount of years until they're the life of not even their own party. Okay? That only goes so far. And stuff. So, I mean, that's only lasts for a little while. These stoic men, many of these stoic men would make excellent boyfriends or husbands for women. Most of these introverted, quiet guys probably really want, yes, I've been there. I am there sometimes. I'm very introverted a lot. Until I get to know somebody. But let's see, yet women should be attracted to mature, reliable, stoic men. Most of us introverted guys shy, get rejected a lot, just aren't very attractive to most women in social settings, yeah. That's me, a lot. So telling introverted men to become more outgoing, extroverted, highly social person to become a scholarly bookworm. Two extremes. Extreme either way is bad. A woman, if you're looking for that, you don't want to be extreme either way. You need to be flexible. You need to be nimble. And strong, but be able to move. You need to be like the water. Okay? You need to be able to move, change, different situations. Not be just one thing, one kind of person. That gets old. People don't like that. Let me see. I'm 40 now and married with kids. But I remember back in high school, there was this one kind of girl kept insulting me every day. After some time, she was making me angry, so one day I swore at her and told her, leave me alone. That sounds like me. Funny thing was, she liked you in a way. Didn't she? She did, huh? Funny thing is, she kept approaching me. I got mad at her, started being super, yeah. That's because that's happened to me. These girls should know better. But sometimes they feel that's the only way you get a rise out of you or get your attention is to do that, so they do that. It's a dumb way of doing it, but I've had that happen myself. That sounds like me and Val. It occurred to me that teenage brain at the time. She liked me, she was that way of letting me know she liked me. Call me stupid over and over again. No, it's not. Yeah, that happened to me in junior high. Valerie, man, I've written some stuff. Yeah, it's like that song, Valerie. She'd be she was a real bitch to me. And I was in a private school for 2 years because I was doing badly in public school. And people shit on me because I couldn't hear, called it retard, all sorts of bad stuff, bullied, this stuff. But when I got, back to public school out of the junior high, things are a lot different, of course. People cussed all the time. Things are a lot different. And this one girl, Valerie, she was rude to me, and I thought she was cute. How she was cute, hot, and everything, and finally I had enough one day, right? She's real mean and rude to me. I said, if you weren't such a bitch, I would like you. If you weren't such a brat and a bitch, I would like you. But you said, you're just a brat and a bitch all the time. And it's like, she stopped after that. And it's like, people try to get me and her together. And I thought about it, but I was way too shy. Sometimes I could be such a pussy. I still could be that way. I think a lot of women would say that. Don't have the follow through. And so that is definitely my fault. And also, it's money. Not it's money. I don't have money for relationships. I don't. So I'm not going to put follow through on some things. Everything. I got my own issues. But, yeah, she changed it. I had a lot of other girls that were interested in me. I probably should have, but I used to sing at school too. I used to be a singer at my school. And so many things were happening at once with people. So, anyways. Let's see, problem with flirting only works if the man's true. No, it doesn't. No. That's not true. It's not true. There have been some fat guys I've seen adult stars interested in. I'm talking about 350, pound walruses, whales. I see cute girls with them. You have to have a certain vibe. You have to have a certain mentality. You have to know, even though you're way obese and overweight, that you are the prize, that you are the man. You have to have that vibe, though. If you're just sitting looking ugly and stuff like that, you don't have a good vibe, and other girls are good looking, well, you ain't gonna have a chance. I mean, that's the way it usually is. Usually weight and looks that's the usual. That is the usual, though. But I've seen some fat guys with gorgeous women. It's rare, but it happens. It's about the vibe. It's about the vibe. You know what I'm saying? First off, don't listen to a woman on how to get women. Second of all, after decades, I've noticed that if a man is doing anywhere close to 50% of the talking, the date is a disaster. You single? You married? Or do you have a divorce? Let's see. I gotta get this sister up, man. I gotta get this sister Caitlin up, man. Holy shit, dude. Holy fuck. I hate typing. God, I'm such an idiot. The chat tells me if I do something stupid. How beautiful. Beautiful. And interested. Also rooted for all stars. Yeah. Is my internet going out? Let's see. He sounds very angry about that. I mean, listen, you have to, both sides, all right, have to be interested in each other. There's going to be stuff that we don't always agree on, but if you meet somebody special, or if it's just friends, man, woman, whatever, it doesn't have to be about sex either, just friends or whatever, right? It's called commonalities. You know, liking, loving the other person, friend or whatever. It's about commonalities and liking their stances on different topics, how they view the world, most of the world, and stuff like that. Just like they're supposed to like, you know, most of the stuff that we like, dislike, etc. There's going to be that. There's going to be stuff also that we're not always going to get along on. That's okay. As long as it doesn't get in the way with the stuff that we have commonalities with. Alright? You have to have all those pluses there and everything. And so what she's saying is that, you know, yeah, it's about commonalities and stuff like that. It's a game give and take as well. It's not a game, but you get what I'm saying. I think get into some gaming stuff here. Let me see though about good art, pleasuring her, touches she craves. There was some other stuff that she had on. Let me see here. Let's see. But anyways, I think maybe 18 plus, guys. All right, 18 plus. I got some stuff. I got gas and magic, stuff like that. She's been around the adult industry, stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff that she knows, you know, from personal experience and everything. Addicted to sex? That's not a good thing. That's a bad thing. Let's see. Snowballing, exploring female domination. Some guys are into that. How your partner might be manipulating you without you knowing. Let's go here. This is gonna be interesting.
Your partner may be manipulating you without you even knowing. And this is a big issue that I see come up in way too many relationships. And the even more wild thing is, sometimes even the person doing the manipulating isn't fully aware that they're doing it. So listen up, because you could be in one of these dynamics right now and have no idea. And if you're watching this while you're single, then it is still very valuable information, because knowing the traps that people fall into could be in one dating isn't fully aware.
Look at her. Look at her. How beautiful she is. Make sure, okay, even the most beautiful, sexy woman in the adult, one of the adult industry, you know, porn stars that I know, most beautiful ones, always need to be told that they're beautiful. They have, the ones I know, they're always asking me, how do I look? Do I look good in this? Do I look good in that? Do I look good? It's weird in a way, that even the most beautiful woman in the world would ask me or care about that, but every woman, the most beautiful even, has some self-esteem issues as well. When you tell a woman how beautiful she looks in the night, in this room that we're in together, she lights up the room in the white glowing aura, a heavenly angel, a goddess of perfection. You tell her, and she has to say the same. She should tell you this as well, how beautiful you look. If she doesn't get her to say it, it's back and forth. She has beautiful lipstick. Her beautiful ocean watery eyes. It's like glistening in the sun. Beautiful radiating. How you do it? You make them feel beautiful. That's how you do it. And they're supposed to also do the same to you as well. Goes both ways. Goes a long way.
That they're doing it. So listen up, because you could be in one of these dynamics right now and have no idea. And if you're watching this while you're single, then it is still very valuable information, because knowing the traps that people fall into in relationships is one of the best ways to avoid falling into them yourself. Plus, it might help your previous relationships make more sense to you once you're able to look through this lens.
Again, everybody, we're at 18 plus here, okay? We're going to get to the games, don't worry. We'll get to the gaming. But we're going to do some of this as well. I got a bit sick. I don't have any messages right now on one of my sites, so that's good. And bad. Anyways.
Now, one of the most common but least healthy dynamics in relationships is codependency. It is an unhealthy and emotionally exhausting dynamic where an attachment forms between two people based on some specific criteria. And today I'm going to talk about one potential dynamic.
Yeah, if you're dependent too much on another person, whether it's a friend, even friends break up because of too much codependency. You know, you need to have them in your life all the time too much. And people need their personal space. I know that way back, 20 years ago, there was, I think, me with a couple people, maybe 3, where I think we were around each other too much sometimes, and everybody needs their personal space, needs to see other people. That's a good thing. And if you're in a relationship with a woman, a guy, whatever, doesn't matter if you're friends or whatever. You got to give each other personal space. You shouldn't be dependent on one person or group of people too much. That can be toxic. Codependency can be very toxic. So be careful of that.
Dynamic that falls under the bigger umbrella of codependency. In most codependent dynamics, one person is hyperfunctional and ends up carrying more of the burden than the relationship, whether that's
the man right there.
Taking care of practical things like household chores, while the other person
knows what he's doing.
And
he's eating them Wheaties. He's getting them Wheaties, man. He's got to get them push-ups. Do that push-ups, brother. I'm right behind you. I'm watching, brother.
And have some sort of addiction-like coping mechanisms. This isn't a video.
I'll watch and I'll eat the donut for you, bro.
It's a huge subject.
I'm right behind you.
Talk specifically about one flavor of codependency. The thing to know about a codependent relationship is that it ends up being a bond that is no longer between two adults who are equals and taking care of themselves and then showing up to their partnership. It ends up being a bond between often someone who's kind of helpless and the person who constantly picks up all of the pieces. But they're both engaged in it equally. It does does take two to tango.
I'm told I'm hopeless a lot in my life.
On top of this being obviously unhealthy, it's also not very sexy. This dynamic can lead to one person feeling insecure and the other person feeling resentment. Codependency has a massive impact on a couple's sex life, as well as pretty much every other aspect of their relationship. In my life, I've never seen a super codependent couple also report that they had a hot and steamy and healthy sex life. Anyway, in this video, what I want to talk about are two very specific ways that this dynamic can occur. The first is learned helplessness, and the second is weaponized incompetency. Although the outcomes of these two situations might look pretty similar, it is important to understand them both individually because one of them is relatively innocent in intention and the other is straight up manipulation. But just to be clear, they're both unhealthy. And if any of what I am about to share with you rings a bell, it is definitely something you want to address in your relationship if you're still in that relationship, or with a coach or a therapist or professional if you are out of that relationship. And of course, in this video, I will also be sharing exactly how to move past and overcome these dynamics. And if you like this and you would like more content that helps you have the best sex and relationships possible, please take a second and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me. Thank you so much. First, it is important to understand the difference between learned helplessness and weaponized incompetence. Let's begin with the more innocent of the two, learned helplessness. This is a psychological condition where, because of past experiences, a person believes that they don't have control over their circumstances. They might feel weak and powerless, and those feelings lead to them being pretty needy and helpless in their personal relationships. Now, people with learned helplessness genuinely feel reliant on their partners to solve problems or handle responsibilities. For example, someone who's afraid of messing up the boring but important tasks like taking care of personal finances or preparing for a meaningful event. There are people who genuinely don't think that they will do a good job and therefore are afraid to take on the responsibility. Do you see how that sort of is like a self-esteem issue? Like, I can't do it, I'm helpless to figure it out, I need you to figure it out for me. A person who struggles with learned helplessness begins to feel emotionally dependent on their partner, and because of this, they can often struggle to voice their needs and express them clearly. They might not believe that they can do that either. If you're with someone like this, it may feel like you're always having to read into their moods and behavior. Like maybe it's your job to put the puzzle together on how it is that they're feeling and what is going to fix it and what is wrong and how do they believe in themselves more and why do they have such self-esteem issues. It can make it really impossible to truly enter into a partnership of equals. This can feel a little bit more like a parent-child dynamic or caregiver-caretaker dynamic. And look, this type of helplessness often comes up because someone in their past made them feel this way. Maybe it was a parent who made them feel like they weren't good enough, a former partner who shamed them for getting things wrong all the time and had them believe that they were incompetent. Learned helplessness isn't something that a person does on purpose, but it still has a negative impact on any relationship. And the truth is, it sucks for both partners. The person with the learned helplessness will feel shit about themselves. They feel like they're powerless in life. They feel like they're incompetent, like maybe they're not even deserving of the relationship. They might feel shame or guilt around feeling or being, in their mind, so inadequate. And on the other hand, the person who is with them may feel like they're in a caretaker role. Feelings of resentment can grow, and it's going to be hard to maintain a sexual attraction when you feel like you're playing mommy or daddy and not in a kinky way. Now let's move on to the more sinister cousin of learned helplessness, which is weaponized incompetence. Where learned helplessness is a condition that happens unintentionally, weaponized incompetence is a straight-up manipulation tactic. Now that doesn't mean that someone is always purposefully, consciously engaging in it, but you'll see what I mean. There are things in life that no one truly enjoys doing. Well, there are things in life that most of us just don't really enjoy doing, like laundry, taxes, uncomfortable conversations. Weaponized incompetence is when someone simply pretends that they don't know how to do it. Let me give you an example. Have you ever heard someone say that they don't know how to clean something? Like, take the toilet bowl. They simply don't have the same eye for detail as you do. You do it so much better than them, and so it's better for you to do it. Maybe they even tried to do it a few times and they just never were capable of doing a good job. So eventually you just cave in and start doing it yourself. You fall for that line of like, you can't learn how to do this, you're incompetent at it, and therefore I'll just take responsibility for it, even though if they're a functioning adult, they could probably figure it out for themselves. Now, in previous generations, and sometimes still today, this was something that was really common to see in parenting in particular. We would hear about a dad who would never change diapers because he just didn't know how to, right? I mean, come on. Women are not born with a instruction manual on how to raise a child. There are things that we just simply learn how to do, and yes, learning is often uncomfortable. Learning takes effort, especially if we don't think that we're going to be very good at that thing. It is very uncomfortable to learn things and then not be good at them. But weaponized incompetence, simply put, is when someone plays dumb in order to get out of doing something that they don't want to do. Now, this isn't a gendered thing. This could be physical work. This could be household chores. This could be chores in the yard. This could be mental work, like planning dates and vacations. It can be more like emotional labor, like claiming that you don't know how to support your partner. You don't know how to talk to them about what it is that they're going through, instead of just making yourself available and like doing it imperfectly. It could look like putting in zero effort with your friends or your parents and then simply blaming them and chalking it all up to the way that they are. Weaponized incompetence is a manipulation tactic. It is a tactic that allows for the quote-unquote incompetent person to avoid doing any of the work while still remaining in control over the situation. And that is a really important piece of the subject because that is what makes it so toxic. So whether your relationship contains learned helplessness or weaponized incompetence, the good news is that there is a way out. The thing that I like to remember is that often a manipulative person doesn't even realize on the surface that they're being manipulative. Like certainly I have been guilty of this. I have done things in my previous relationships trying to get a result that I wasn't even conscious of how problematic that behavior was. In times like that, as soon as I realized that what I was doing was problematic.
Me too. I've had so many with relationships and stuff that I've had where I go back over stuff and everything like that, and go over to texting and stuff like that, the arguments and stuff like that. I saw that I was a piece of shit. Sometimes it wasn't always their fault. And so going over stuff that was in the past and everything, I saw where, I was a piece of shit sometimes as well. And so that they weren't, totally to blame. It was half and half, both of us, wasn't at fault, both of us were at fault. But I saw, where I did, more stupid things than I thought that I did. And I needed to atone for that as well, and acknowledge it as well. So, I mean, there's always stuff to be learned from past relationships and stuff like that and everything.
I made amends, I apologized, I owned it, and then I tried to do it differently in the future, and that's exactly what I'm going to share with you next. How to move past these toxic coping mechanisms and learned behaviors and do better. Now listen, this is not in any way an excuse for manipulative behavior, and regardless of whether or not your partner realizes it, it is wrong, and you do deserve better. I only mention that because once a person realizes that their behavior is manipulative, they have the power to change. Very few of us would not choose to change that behavior if we truly love ourselves and love our partner. So then how do we create that change? Well, here it is in 4 simple, not easy, steps. Step 1, self-awareness. The first step is bringing up the issue and understanding each of your roles in the current dynamic. That is the in codependency. Everybody's playing a role here. One partner needs to realize, accept, and admit the fact that they have been acting in this way and it is manipulation, whether it's on purpose or unknowingly. They get to accept and admit that they aren't pulling their weight and they need to be accountable in offering to make a change. Now, the other person needs to also realize and accept and admit that they have been accepting this behavior. They need to take accountability for the fact that they have been picking up the pieces, taking on the extra work, and whatever else they have been doing, maybe because it just seemed simpler than actually facing the issue head on. And both partners have to independently.
I think both sides of any relationships, whether it's friends, boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever, needs to be mindful of how, worry about any type of codependency, because it hasn't just happened with me and others and stuff like that, but a lot of other people that actually work, that are public civil servants, any walk of life. I've heard of professional stuff like that have had, stuff with codependency issues that could go toxic and stuff, and you have to, put a stop to that and everything else, and you have to see what's wrong with it and correct it before it becomes destructive and totally explodes or implodes and stuff like that. So, anyways, I did do some games, stuff like that, but I need to take a leak. If anybody see about Rivals, Battlefront 2 and stuff, I did good and bad last night with some Rivals. I was just doing late night and lost some, won some. It has so much to do with good teamwork. So I did take a leak. If anyone, has a which first or whatever, I got Rivals, so I guess we're gonna go there. It's gonna have a lot to do with teamwork and stuff like that. So I'll be right back. Okay, let's see. I think I'm gonna restart. I think I'm gonna turn this one off and restart it. Go to Marvel Rivals, so people know that's just gonna be gaming versus the dramatic stuff, the real life stuff. You know, clear our heads, get into the gaming stuff like that. Just don't, so people don't have to worry about the drama of other stuff in life and stuff like that. I'll restart that. Just give you a few minutes. All right.